Hey, friends. How do we handle grief while running a business? Today's episode is not a sassy one and it's not a witty one. Today, I want to talk to you about grieving. And is it possible to grieve well? And if so, what does it mean and what does it even look like? How do I go on with my life with this gaping hole in my heart? How do I continue to run my business when the mere thought of a business seems so insignificant at this very moment? And why didn't God wake me up so I could be with my mom in her final moments? Why didn't He warn me when I was helping her into bed that final night? What, if anything, would I have done differently that last night? These are all the thoughts running wild in my mind, and yet I have no answers. In today's episode, I want to share with you what I believe grieving well looks like and how I am navigating this journey in my personal life and running a business simultaneously. Hey, Coach. Welcome back to the Coach by God Entrepreneur Show. I'm Denise Milianta, self-proclaimed mama bear of the coaching industry, certified professional coach, mentor, consultant, tech trainer, and a faith-fueled business maven with a knack for turning chaos into gold. If you are ready to leverage your hard-earned coaching certification, get clarity, create ripples in the marketplace, build a business that glorifies God, and make money, this podcast is for you. You can find out more and connect with me over at denisemilianta.coach. Ready to dig into today's show? Get ready for a dash of sass, a sprinkle of wit, a dose of wisdom, and a whole lot of no-nonsense strategies that will transform your life and your business. Let's go. Grieving well. I don't remember really when I first heard that term. It was probably a long time ago at church, most likely. Grieving well refers to navigating the process of grief in a healthy and constructive manner. And when I first heard the term, it resonated with me for some reason. I don't really know why. I can tell you that it makes more sense when you're not actually in the midst of grief. It's important to understand that grief really is a deeply personal experience, and there's no one right way to grieve, and none of us will probably grieve the same way. Even if there's more than one person grieving the loss of the same person, each one of our journeys is going to look different. For me, I think grieving well is allowing myself the space to feel all the feelings. It's allowing myself to recognize exactly what I'm experiencing in my body and in my thoughts. And it's being able to acknowledge and express my emotions, right? I need to feel and express the range of emotions that are coming with this huge loss. Things like sadness, anger, confusion, and at moments I'm even feeling joy or relief. For me, I'm having a very difficult time with the loss of my mom because she lived with me for the last 12 years. So we spent every single day together. I work from home. So we literally were in each other's company 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I am really experiencing the physical loss of her presence in my home. And I will tell you that I am having a harder time than I expected to be having. We can prepare ourselves for the loss of our loved ones, especially our parents, as they're aging, they're getting old. Me and my sisters fully understood that my mom was nearing the end of her life. She lived a great life. She was 83 years old, and she was not well for many years, but it still didn't make it any easier. I couldn't understand the first few days why I was experiencing the level of grief that I'm experiencing. Now, I will tell you that it's only been 1 week. While you're listening to this, my mom passed away, exactly last Wednesday. So it is still fresh. It's an open wound, and the enormity of this loss is inconceivable, and I don't even know how to express it. But some of the things that I am doing, of course, leaning on the Lord, I am deep into the Word. I've looked up all the scriptures on grief. I have all the head knowledge, all the Bible knowledge. What I'm waiting for is for for my heart to catch up to those words, right? To that understanding, to that wisdom, to that knowledge. So I am acknowledging and expressing my emotions. I am not telling people that I am okay because I am not okay, and it's okay not to be okay. I'm also seeking the support of my family, especially my sisters. They are grieving with me. I'm also seeking support from my close friends. And most likely, I will be reaching out for counseling, in the very near future. I'm sharing my grief with others who understand it, or empathize with it, because it is incredibly healing. The other thing that I'm trying to implement is self-care. I do recognize and understand that taking care of my physical and emotional needs is crucial. And part of this includes getting enough rest, eating well, engaging in physical activity is part of that self-care routine. Although I haven't really fully dove into that, I am doing some walking and stretching and things of that nature. I am eating well, although I really don't have any appetite, and I am 100% getting enough rest. So, when I'm reading about grief and some of these self-care recommendations, they say to do the activities that bring you comfort and joy. I haven't gotten to that point yet because right now I don't know what those are. Like, my brain, honestly, I don't even know what would bring me comfort and joy right now. Also, we need to find a balance. I need to acknowledge and feel my grief. So it's balancing where so the grief is not completely dominating my life, and it means gradually returning to or maintaining my daily routines and activities, even though it's really difficult. So again, today marks the 1 week anniversary of my mom going home to the Lord. I can honestly say that it's really difficult to stick to a routine, because my normal routine was in the morning I'd wake up, go check on my mom, bring her coffee. We'd say good morning, have a little chit chat. So I can't return to that normal routine because it's impossible. So I need to find some new ones. I also am honoring my mom, right? And I want to celebrate her life and engage in activities that help me feel connected to her. So for me, what that looks like, and this is really funny, is watching TV. Now, I am not a TV person. My mom was absolutely obsessed with TV, and because she was, elderly, the volume would be way up. So what have I been finding myself doing? I'm putting the TV on first thing in the morning, and I have the volume way up. So I'm sure she's getting a big laugh out of all of this. And I do understand that I need to allow time for this, right? Grief is not a linear process. It takes time to heal. It's essential for us to recognize this. So I keep reminding myself that there is no set timeline for this, and it's okay for me to move through this process at my own pace. Now, I do need to adapt to a new normal, which means that I do have to accept the reality of my loss and understanding how it changes my life. It's going to involve forming a new sense of normalcy without the presence of my mom. So, to wrap that up, to grieve well is to approach our loss with honesty, care, patience, and support, right? We have to allow the process to unfold in its own time and way, while also taking steps to care for ourselves and continuing to engage in life. I want to move on real quick to how to run your online coaching business while navigating the depths of grief, because this is the big question also that I have been asking the Lord. I can honestly tell you that I have no desire to do business right now. And even recording this podcast was, I will tell you, difficult and almost seems like a chore. But I did make a promise to the Lord when I launched the podcast that I would show up every week for at least a year before I made any changes in the podcast. Now, in the wake of losing my mom, managing an online coaching business really feels insignificant, right? The blending my personal grief and my professional responsibilities is a little bit overwhelming. I am blessed, though, that, I guess the Lord was already preparing me for this, because right now I'm not really working with many one-on-one clients, and the ones that I am working with are so precious and so understanding that they're just really understanding. So, God prepared me, I guess, for this time. He knew what was coming. He knew when it was coming. So I just want to say thank you to my clients, you know who you are, that are being so gracious to me and praying for me during this difficult time. Now, grief is a natural response to loss, right? It can be any kind of loss. It doesn't have to be the loss of a loved one. It can be the loss of a friend, the loss of a job. It could be the loss of a pet. But it does significantly impact our emotional and cognitive functioning. And as coaches, our profession really does demand empathy, focus, and the ability to inspire, abilities that can be dampened by this grief. So recognizing the impact of grief is the first step in formulating a strategy to manage our businesses effectively while we're going through this. So what I have done moving forward for the next couple of weeks, or forever, for as long as it takes, is really creating a flexible work schedule. I believe that flexibility really is crucial for me right now. So I have adjusted my coaching schedule to allow for these moments of reflection and healing. And like I said before, I am already in the process of not working with many clients. So reducing the number of sessions per week has been easy for me to set aside specific days for personal time. So communicating all of these changes with my clients, I believe, helps maintain that trust and understanding. And then again, to repeat this, I will say that self-care is paramount during grief. I am intentionally going to engage in practices that promote the healing, mostly spending more time in the Word with the Lord and spending time with my loved ones, my sisters, my daughter, my niece, and my nephews, whether it's via texting or in person. Surrounding yourself with your loved ones is essential. And I want to just say that, taking care of yourself is not a luxury, right? This is something that the Lord wants us to do. So I am trying to be obedient to the Lord's word while I'm grieving as well. And I will just say that, to conclude, running an online coaching business while grieving is going to require patience on my part. And if you know me well, you know that I don't really have a lot of patience, and adaptability and self-compassion. The self-compassion might be a little difficult for me too. But by implementing these things, I hope to maintain a healthy balance between my personal healing and my professional responsibilities. And I do want to remember that it's really about progressing at our own pace and finding balance that works for you. So if you are in a season of grief, I would love to pray with you and for you. So please reach out to me. And I would also ask that you would please remember me and my sisters and all of our family members in your prayers as well. Thank you. God bless you, and be well. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Coach by God Entrepreneur. If this blessed you, please hit the subscribe button and leave me a review. I would be truly blessed if you shared this podcast with another coach. And remember, success in coaching is not just about what you achieve, but who you become in the process. Tune in for more insights and actionable strategies in my upcoming episodes. Stay connected, stay inspired, and let God lead the way to your coaching greatness.